So let me start. Let's just move into a basketball topic because I'm going to keep you for 2 segments.
Okay.
And I said, there's 2 types of attorneys, fighting for justice and the guys who put billboards on the 5 freeway, personal injury attorneys. There's 2 types of surgeons. They save lives, and then there's guys that make you hotter, plastic surgeons. There's guys like The Rock, and then there's guys like in actors who are real, true actors. Basketball players, Magic, LeBron, Steph and KD. It's about titles, stats. We'll give up stats. LeBron, as you know, has left 10,000 points on the table. I mean, he's been a scoring champ once. Harden, to me, falls into the classification of plastic surgeon over saving lives surgeon, which is I like points matter, me having the ball matters, scoring titles matter. And so when he rips Giannis, my thing is, James, this is mostly on you. You've made a choice with your style, and you're going to get rich and score a bunch of points, but we're not going to talk about you in 25 years.
I think that's fair. Look, part of this all comes, it's the Rachel Nichols interview in which she allows him to respond to when Giannis was drafting for the All-Star draft, which, by the way, is amazing and a disaster all at the same time, right? Where you have to pick a guy and you got to come up with a line. And by the way, English is not his native language, so you kind of give him a little bit of a pass for I want somebody who passes, so I'm not going to take James Harden. Like, James Harden's actually a great passer.
Yeah.
He over-dribbles based upon how they let him play. But I'm going to defend Harden here. He's right. Giannis doesn't have a lot of skill. I mean,
he's not a good shooter.
And he's actually not a great passer. He passes because you have to collapse on him. The way the rules are set, the way they set their offense, they put everybody outside the three-point line, and he just uses his length and his angles and his dribbling skill and his ability to finish around the rim. You collapse, he's averaging 6 assists a game. For a guy who's averaging that many points with that many shooters is actually a really low number. He's not, when people say skill, they do mean shooting. Like, shooting has become
I always think ball handling matters too. But in
the NBA, shooting is skill is code for shooting. It really is. I mean, when Kevin Durant 2 weeks ago said, "Hey, when I was in Oklahoma City, there wasn't a lot of skill around me." People are like, "Whoa, you got this guy." No. Skill means shooting, means space, and people don't respect that Giannis can't shoot. I know he hit 5 threes against the Lakers. He hasn't sniffed 5 threes ever since.
He's not a great shooter.
No, he's not. It's a work in progress. It's become better. He's a non-shooter who shoots, and now it's gotten to be where he's okay. He's below 30%, I think, from 3, but he has to do it to keep you honest. What James Harden needs to realize, though, is if he really wants to get the respect of his peers, he's got to play defense. I mean, this is what Trae Young is battling.
Yeah.
And this is what he is battling.
Yeah.
In that he's I think, as good an offensive player as there is in the NBA, maybe in the history of the NBA.
Right.
Because he can not only score at 3 levels, draw fouls, but also he's a great passer. But if you're not willing to put in the effort defensively, you're never going to get the respect of your peers.
Dwayne Wade's a great example. As you know, Dwayne always looked like to me he was a really talented slot receiver that was playing basketball. He was not a gifted shooter, grinder, score at the rim, hit the deck. Dwayne Wade wasn't the most gifted, skilled player. I don't know if there's 5 guys in the league with more respect among their peers. Dwayne gave you everything on both ends. James, I find, who's highly skilled,
yes,
but there is sort of an eye roll because of the choices he makes defensively.
Yes, and then offensively, his need to draw fouls in order to be great, he's got to get a whistle. His style of basketball is only good if he gets a whistle.
Does that explain why in the postseason
yes, because the whistle changes.
Yeah, it does.
And he struggles to change with it. Dwayne Wade had that ability. He couldn't shoot. He was not a very good shooter, but he would make it when it mattered, right? He had the competitive greatness.
Yes.
You're like, man, bad numbers. You're like, oh, no. Yes. That's what Dwayne Wade was. Whereas I think everyone agrees that James Harden has an incredible amount of skill. It's hard to watch with all the dribbling.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch with the throwing the head back, to draw a foul,
yeah,
which he didn't invent, but he has perfected.
Yes.
But I think if you want respect from your peers, NBA players, basketball players always respect, hey, not only am I going to score, but then I'm going to guard the other team's best player. And they hide him. And honestly, Steph has battled with that.
This is very good point.
And what happens is people say, well, deflections and steals, that doesn't make you a good defensive player because they put you on the worst offensive player and they hide you, and you're the only guy who won't switch. We're going to switch everybody except with Harden. Switch everybody except with Steph Curry. And everybody else has to pick it. That's why Kevin Durant... That's why he was so needed in Golden State. They didn't just need a scorer.
Yeah.
They needed somebody that could defend multiple positions to hide Steph Curry so that Steph could be otherworldly at the other end.
Yeah, I always thought Durant's a tad underrated as a defender. The effort is there.
It wasn't always there in Oklahoma City, but that was sort of by design, right? By design, Oklahoma City, they had Steven Adams. They had Andre Robertson. Russell Westbrook gets respect as a defender. He doesn't really play much defense in the regular season, but he's good defensively. So he could Kevin could get away with it when he's in Oklahoma City. When he got to Golden State,
they demanded it.
They demanded it, and they said, look, if you want to be a superstar, if you want to be the best player in the league, you got to do it at the defensive end. And that's why Kawhi has the respect of the league. That's why LeBron had the respect of the league. He's not doing it on the ball like he used to now. Now he's doing it as kind of the center fielder defensively. But until you do it at the defensive end, you won't earn the respect of the guys that matter. They don't really care what fans think because fans look at box scores. Players understand who actually plays at the other end.
Arizona, and this is not easy for men, professional football men. We made a mistake on Rosen. We're going with Kyler. I think they're pretty happy today. Dwayne Haskins, from everything I've heard, there are work ethic issues. Urban Meyer, who coached him, said he's not ready to play in the NFL yet. Tua is a significantly better prospect if medically cleared. Should Washington bail on Haskins?
I definitely think they should consider it. I mean, a lot of it comes down to medicals. Now, some of the world overreacted because I tweeted yesterday that a source close to the old staff, not the new staff, the old staff, told me that they were so befuddled by his inability to simply call a play that they asked themselves, is he dyslexic? Right? Because he's not dumb. He's actually very bright. 25 on the Wonderlic is not otherworldly, but better than Richard Sherman. Yeah. And they just couldn't figure it out. Yeah. Doug Williams, a former Redskins quarterback, has said, hey, he's got to figure out how to lock it. The stories where it's about work ethic and about ability to understand the concepts. Additionally, he's not a great athlete.
No, he's not. He's not.
He's a thrower, not an athlete.
He is less athletic than Eason from Washington, who we're calling Joe Flacco. He runs a slower 40.
Right. So, yes, I would consider it. Now, the problem with it is you got Chase Young there, and if Chase Young's as good or better than Nick Bosa, I don't know how you pass on that.
That's hard. Everybody wants an edge rusher.
But here's the amazing thing about Arizona. Let's give Steve Keim a little credit. As you said, he's admitting his own mistake.
His own mistake.
Right. This is what usually happens in the NFL, where a new guy comes in. Ron Rivera's like, those old other guys, they were idiots. I know everything. Here's a new quarterback.
It's way easier for Ron Rivera.
The other factor is, and I had a great discussion with Ron Rivera on air and off air, and he swore that Dan Snyder laid it out for him. He's going to let him run his football thing. But remember, this was a Dan Snyder draft pick. Dan Snyder's kid went to high school with Dwayne Haskins, and owners own. And if push comes to shove, and Dwayne Haskins did improve as the year went on, playing for Callahan at the end of the year, at the end of the day, does the owner come in and go like, hey, look, I know you like this Tua kid, but let's give Haskins another run. We can run it back with him. Let's draft Chase Young, the best prospect in the draft. If it was me, if Tua's healthy, I don't understand why you wouldn't draft Tua Tagovailoa, right? He's accurate. He's athletic enough, although maybe that's why he's gotten hurt, because he's gotten chased down. And he's an incredible leader of men and seemed to have a high football IQ. I don't know why you wouldn't do that if you don't think that you have a good enough quarterback.
Okay, Joe Burrow is not going to say, talk to the hand of the Bengals. They draft him, he's going. But, and I think Tua is better than Burrow as a prospect. I'm in the minority. I don't even know if any of these guys are great prospects, although I do think Tua could be if it just works in Miami. That's where he'll land. But what is your thing on what if Burrow did say to Cincinnati, I'm not coming?
Well, here's the misconception about the Eli Manning thing. Okay, first, Burrow's mistake was that he was saying all these things. When Eli pulled an Eli, okay, which is the John Elway or whatever, Eli never said anything.
Yeah.
Okay, Eli never said a word. There's no quote from Eli Manning saying, I won't play for the San Diego Chargers. The brilliance to Eli Manning is he's always put on the happy face and then let everybody else handle the dirty business, right?
Right.
Which is what Joe Burrow should have done. Because there was a backlash, there's no doubt that the Bengals picked up the phone, called his agent, and said, we're picking him, and we're not trading it. But the Bengals should at least consider trading this pick. Because, as you pointed out, it might be overvalued here a little bit. Not the biggest hands in the world, not the greatest arm in the world, is older than other prospects, and was surrounded by a crazy amount of talent in a pro-style offense in the SEC, which just figured out what the forward pass is, right?
Right.
So all of those things worked in his favor. And he was great. And he was great when it mattered most.
Yeah, he's a very good prospect.
No question. Okay, but the misconception is that the Chargers lost the Eli Manning trade. They didn't. If you want to say that Eli Manning's a better quarterback all time than Phillip Rivers, you can win that argument. Like, he did win 2 Super Bowls. Phillip Rivers, as bad as the Chargers have been, has a far better career record overall than Eli Manning. I think they've been in the playoffs the exact same number of years.
Yeah.
Okay. Neither missed a game. Neither got hurt, even though Phillip Rivers played in the AFC Championship game with a torn ACL.
But Phillip's got better numbers.
Better. But if you want to say that Eli's better, okay. If we look back to that trade, the Chargers also got Nate Kading, who was a 2-time All-Pro kicker, and Sean Merriman, lights out, Rookie of the Year defensive end.
Yeah.
That's what they got for that. That's not a 1-for-1 trade. That's a 3-for-1 trade. And I believe that Joe Burrow would command even more on the market now.
Oh, yes, he
because
would.
people are giving up 2 first-round draft picks much more readily, and then some for lesser prospects.
It is amazing, though, Doug. Joy and I were joking. And I said it's a millennial thing, and she said, no, it's a group younger than millennial. Saying he's a good prospect is now seen as a criticism. 99% of first-round quarterbacks, 99% are good prospects. Elway was great. Trevor Lawrence will be great. Andrew Luck was great. I thought Carson, I don't even know if Patrick Mahomes was great to more than like 6 teams. I thought Carson Wentz, you looked at him and you were like, really quickly, you're like, that could be great. But saying you're a good prospect is what almost the league is.
Yeah, I understand. But you do that with, and Nick Wright does it with LeBron, right? If I say LeBron
Great prospect.
No, but if I say he's not the best player in the league, you're like, what? No, well, there's 450 NBA players on earth. He's been the best player for several of the last 17 years.
Right.
If he's not quite as good as Giannis or Harden or Kawhi Leonard right now, right?
It's not a criticism.
It's saying he's a little bit older. He can't bring it every night. That's why he scores 40 and he has to take a night off against Golden State.
That's right.
He's earned that right, but it's a reasonable take.
Right.
He can no longer guard the best players in the league.
So you believe with me that Burrow's a good prospect?
I think he's an outstanding prospect. I think he might be a great prospect. I also think that you have to take context that matters. It's in Cincinnati. They're not surrounded by great talent, unlike when he played at LSU. He's playing outdoors. That's when arm strength and hand size do, in fact, matter.
Thank you.
And he's playing against some,
That division, Doug, defensively, that division is as second only to the NFC West.
Correct.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.